Welcome to March's edition of 4 and 4. I'm Kathy Halgren, Director of South St. Paul Public Library, and this month I have 5 books to tell you about, so let's get started. My first book is Benjamin Black's The Black-Eyed Blonde. Black is a pseudonym for the Irish author John Banville, and for those who loved Raymond Chandler's noir mysteries, you won't be disappointed with Banville's reincarnation of the hard-boiled detective Philip Marlowe. In this case, Marlowe is visited by a lovely woman who turns out to be a perfume heiress, and she asks him to track down a certain Nico Peterson. She says Nico is a former lover who was supposedly killed, but she believes she saw him in San Francisco after his death. Something's not adding up, and Marlowe can't help himself. He falls for the blonde, the case, but not the villain. With more one-liners than a Steve Martin flick, Marlowe will keep you hooked until all is revealed in the end. Warning, Chandler and Black are anything but politically correct. Sue Monk Kidd had a huge hit with The Secret Life of Bees, and I think she's got another with The Invention of Wings. Normally it takes you quite a while to figure out the meaning of a book's title, but in the very first chapter we're told that in Africa stories were told of people who could fly up above the clouds. In this story, based on actual historical figures and set in the early 1800s, we read about 2 young girls who both have a yearning for something more, and the spunk to do something about it. Sarah Glinke is 11 and has a terrible stammer, but a lively intellect and a sense of justice. She wants to become a lawyer and set things right in her world. This world is Charleston, where her family owns several slaves, and she has just been given her own servant, Handful, also known as Hetty, who is a year younger, for a birthday present. Handful's chapters also reveal a child who knows she's meant for more than the life she was born into, and she longs to float away on the sea that borders Charleston. With her sassy repartee, she'll keep you smiling amidst the tears as you travel through time to see just how high she and Sarah will fly over the next 3 decades. Savage Girl by Jean Zimmerman takes us back to 1876, where a young Hugo delegate has been jailed in Manhattan, charged with murder. The rest of the book is his account of what actually happened to his lawyers, and he goes back to the previous year when his family traveled to Nevada, the Wild West, and their mining operations in Virginia City. Hugo becomes enthralled with a savage girl, a sideshow act, and his father Freddie decides to free her and take her back to New York with them to explore the nature-nurture theory. She's believed to have been left in the wild after both her parents die at her birth, but Freddie realizes she understands the Comanche language. Back in New York with their new charge, now named Bronwyn, our savage girl is introduced to the finest life has to offer, since the delegates are from the upper echelon. What do you think happens? Does she make it in New York? Or does she long for the freedom of a natural order? You'll have to read to find out. I'm a big fan of historical fiction, and in my opinion, this is one of the better books of the season. If you're up for a fast-paced thriller, Precious Thing by former BBC crime reporter Colette McBeth might be the ticket. Rachel and Clara became fast friends in junior high school, but as for many of us, this was not the easiest time. Fast forward, and Rachel has become a successful, beautiful reporter, and Clara would like her to reconnect with some of the girls from school. She meets them, but Clara never shows up, and as time goes on, Rachel becomes a suspect in her disappearance. Another book that proves that often things are not what they appear. If you love artists and love stories, you might like Robin Oliveira's I Always Loved You. Set in La Belle Époque Paris, this is a story of the American artist Mary Cassatt and her romance with Edgar Degas, a French painter. We get a bird's-eye view of the art world during the Impressionistic period, as well as Mary's struggle with acceptance as an artist, coupled with her unusual relationship with Degas. That's all for this edition of 4 and 4. See you in May with 4 or 5 more titles in 4 minutes.